Okay, let me just close these things. Okay, so let's talk about attachment. So does anyone know the four attachment? I'm sure everyone knows or have heard some of these, but any volunteers that would put in the chat, what are the four attachment styles, or they call disorders, but I like to say styles because it's more accurate. Four attachment styles. And if you only know one or two, feel free to share. Avoidant, beautiful. Yep. Yeah, anxious. Okay, great. Anxious, avoidant. Perfect. Then there's also two more. One is a combo type, and it's a little anxious, a little avoidant, depending on the situation. Yeah, and then there's secure. Yeah. So we have anxious, avoidant, secure, and we have a combo type of anxious and avoidant, and that's called fearful avoidant. So, second question, where do attachment styles come from? How do we all have different ones, or at different times in our lives, maybe, or even in different relationships, we might present as one more than the other. If you think of a former relationship, maybe you were more anxious or avoidant, or maybe the current relationship, you're more secure. Why did that change? Why did it show up, and why do you think that was your or is your attachment style? And I'll just look, or feel free to raise a hand. Okay. Yes, it shows up from childhood. Yep. And so now we're going back to the inner child, how this all comes together. So attachment styles, there's lots of studies that have been done over the years, and where the child had consistent parental guidance or did not have consistent parental guidance. There is a strong correlation between a secure child. Who knows? So, like, for example, in one of the studies, the mother would bring the baby into this playroom, and the baby would play with the toys while the mom was there. And then if she went away and left the room, insecure baby and I'm not saying infant, but like a toddler, would start like hysterically crying. This is an anxious, insecure, would start crying, banging at the door, throwing the toys, had a hard time self-soothing when mom left the room in this toy room. That's anxious. Then there's the avoidant. The avoidant child, also insecure. This one was like, yeah, well, she doesn't play with me anyway. I'm used to sitting, they're thinking, not consciously thinking this, but they are used to playing on their own quietly by themselves. Maybe they were bullied by their siblings, and so they're appreciating that there's no siblings in the room. Um, and so they see mom leave. They don't say anything. They don't seem to care. They see her come back. They're not grabbing at her leg. So that's the avoidant style attachment. Then there's the combo. So if mom is overly attached and all up in the business of the kid, then they're kind of like pushing her away or slapping her hand away. Don't play with my toys, or if she is leaving, fine, I'm leaving. And she says, I'm going. Then they're like crying and grabbing on her leg. So that would be more of a combo type. Okay. And then the last one, of course, is secures, like, maybe a little upset, mom left, but is self-soothing, starts playing, gets, into the toys. She comes back, they come give her a hug, hey, mom, look what I built. Okay. So every one of us were one of these children. And depending on the age and different stages that we went through, this could even happen in adult life, where we experience either some trauma or drama or messaging, that we become one or the other. So sometimes if our parents were lacking affection, or lacking eye contact. Those are called they can be like small traumas. Not saying I love you, not hugging us, not showing up on time for school to pick us up. not coming to any of the sports, or just not because they didn't were bad or anything. Maybe they were just working, two jobs, or maybe they thought, "Well, at least grandma's there, so you're fine." So oftentimes it really does, I mean, it always depends on the child and what and how you as a child took in those messages. Because we all are a little more sensitive in some areas, less sensitive in others, and we all have personalities just from the gate. So, okay, so how does this come together? Attachment styles, and inner child. So you're starting to see that there was an inner child named you that adjusted or adapted in one way or another to be either anxious or avoidant or combo or secure, okay, in your adult life. And so what happens subconsciously to that 70,000 thoughts per day, and the 95% of them subconscious, is that when we get into adult life, we usually pick partner that will help us solve, resolve, or even trigger um, what we didn't completely resolve as a child. So I will give you a couple of personal examples. Okay. So 20 years ago, I was starting out in my coaching business, and um, I was sitting at a coffee shop with one of my clients who was doing a Dear Daddy letter, and I was his coach. And we were uh so he was doing a Dear Daddy letter, and I'd done, I thought, a lot of daddy work, so I didn't have much emotional charge, but I was doing my little Dear Daddy letter. It's just like 3 or 4 sentences, and I remember I wrote that, "Dear Dad, I felt helpless knowing you left when I was 2." And it was at that point that I realized I had 8 relationships before that had lasted a year and a half to 2 years. And I would leave, even a marriage in college, that I left right before the 2-year mark. It was almost like aha moment. It was an aha moment where I realized I had a trigger point from childhood that said I would leave the guy before he left me. If I can't stop my dad from leaving, you see, I'm going to go ahead and leave whoever I'm with before 2 years, before the 2-year mark, because they'll leave me, right? So I had this moment, and I was dating someone at the time, and I said, I just realized something. No one's ever made it past 2 years with me. And I think I know why now. Okay. So we can have trauma points where it can actually, here's another story, my own story. So as a child, I was uh I was sent to live with my grandparents. My mother got on drugs, and she was on the streets, and all the kids, we all got split up, and I was gifted the opportunity to be with my grandparents. And around 9 years old. And it wasn't really until Christmas time where all the families would come to grandma's house, and everyone had a mom and dad around the Christmas tree. And then on Christmas Day, they would all go to their homes and have their own small family things. And Christmas Day at grandma's house was like empty. There was no one there. And so I would tell my boyfriend or friends or whatever, like, hey, like, let's go do something. And I was super independent on Christmas Day because I could not stand being at the house at my grandparents'. It was really quiet. It was kind of like a, tiny little house. And it was just like, I need to get out of here. And I became super independent on Christmas Day to go have fun, to go to a movie on Christmas Day, to go whatever it is. But I would go and have fun. And I was very like, because there was this discord with, oh, now I really realize that I don't have parents, because I don't have anyone to have that small little intimate stocking day, right? So as I got older, I realized I have a seasonal trauma or trigger point. So my seasonal, so the same thing with like an alcoholic, or yeah, let's say an alcoholic. Someone who, there are alcoholics who only binge during summers. There are alcoholics who will black out and urinate on the couch and not know where they were, and it's just once a year. Then there are alcoholics who feel like they need alcohol every single day, and those are usually the ones that we say those are alcoholics. You see, there's so many different types of trauma points, or the way that trauma can show up in our lives. So we don't realize that we have a trauma point in the years that we're with someone, or seasons that we're more sensitive. By the way, so that October, November, December is the time of my life I started reviewing things. And I was like, wow, during that season, the winter season, when I missed having a mom and dad the most, those are the times where I did amazing things. Those are the times when I opened a wellness center, changed jobs, left a job, left a person, started a new relationship, got married. And my two marriages, one was in college. We got married December, the other one was in November. Didn't even realize it until after all of these things, that I am so bold, so brave, so strong. Like I'm finishing my book that I've been working on for 10 years this December, next month. It's going to be published. So I'm not surprised. So it's not only a negative, it can actually be, because I'm an alchemist. I love to turn lemons into lemonade. I love to look at silver lining. I love to ask, whenever I have a challenge, what is the superpower behind it? Okay? Because it is. Everything is a gift, especially the challenges. So again, physical fitness trainer. So the more weight that you can push up, the more you're going to get used to pushing that weight. Your body's gonna, your energy is going to adjust. You'll have a new baseline, and you become more and more powerful. So everything, especially our challenges, are the areas that you are fully able to superpower up on them. Okay. So yeah, so the trauma points can actually become the strongest part of your life. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Oh, I love how you view life. You're so inspiring. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Jean.